The K-pop idol industry within Korea is a grueling and difficult industry to succeed in. The thousands of people audition to companies to hopefully one day debut as an idol or in a group or as a soloist. However, this dream isn't all the fame and fortune many believe it to be. Throughout the history of K-pop, many scandals of abuse and mistreatment of idols from companies and even fans have come to light. From smaller groups such as Omega X to very mainstream popular groups such as Luna, a whole range of idols and groups have been faced to some form of mistreatment. The case of Omega X was huge. Of the scandals that have happened within the K-pop industry, the case of Omega X's abuse is one of the largest and most devastating for the members. The CEO of the company which owned Omega X was the main perpetrator for the abuse, but members of staff also continued it. Abuse ranged from verbal abuse, constantly berating members if anything happened that went wrong, to physically hitting and throwing things at the members. One example of this is when a fan spotted the CEO hitting the members after a performance in LA, and other fans who were there at the time also recall seeing the same person doing a similar thing. The reason for this mistreatment was apparently due to the fact that the members didn't read a thank you message which was displayed on the teleprompter. Another instance is from the members themselves where they talk about how overworked they were during the era of COVID. Many of the members caught the virus, but weren't allowed by the company to share the information as it would halt their plans for performances and events, so they continued to perform even while sick. After a while of this going on behind the scenes, one of the members, Kim Jae-hun, fainted. The CEO then proceeds to shout at him and say that she's fainted before and that if he can't handle what he's doing, then he should quit his life as an idol. Here is a clip of their interaction. After the year-long period of abuse, in which fellow staff and the CEO alike would verbally and physically abuse the members, they finally filed a lawsuit against the company and won. The group has now signed under a new company as of July 3rd. This is just one of the many examples of mistreatment in the industry which needs to be stopped. Another area of mistreatment which people often overlook in an idol's life is the training schedules. Training usually starts very early in the day from around 9 to 11 am to very late at night, usually cutting into the hours of the morning such as 12 am or even as late as 6 am. One such example of this is the American trainee Bomine, who recently opened up about his previous training schedule.
9 a.m. I wake up, and then 10 to 11 I get to shower, eat, and clean. 11 to 11:30 I have to go to the practice room. Korean study, okay, 11:30 to 2. 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. is vocalization / pronunciation. From 3 to 7:30 is rap practice. 7:30 to 8:30 is my photo mission / 8:30 to 11:30 is rap lyrics. From 11:30 to 12 a.m. okay, you go to dance practice room. 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. is dance practice. It's 6 a.m. to 6:20 a.m. Go home.
This describes his day where he trains from 11:30 a.m. to 6:20 a.m. every day, on top of what he was doing outside of that, such as YouTube and TikTok, leaving only 3 hours max of sleeping each night to wake up at 9 and repeat the process. Strict diets are also a major risk with trainees, as there are often companies that will measure their trainees' weight each day before practice. Oftentimes, trainees can be cut from groups or let go by the company based solely on a gain in weight, as each trainee has to meet the unrealistic beauty standards set by the industry. Because of this intense training, lack of sleep, and restrictive diets, which don't give the necessary nutrients for this training, it isn't unheard of for trainees to pass out and be hospitalized.
하는 친구들이 있어요. 그러다가 쓰러지고 병원 실려가고 그런 케이스도 있는데
This type of mistreatment is a lot more common than one may think. With so many people auditioning and getting into these bad companies which neglect and give strict schedules to follow, this means that most, if not all, idols have faced the issues that come with these inhumane training days. Companies and staff aren't the only perpetrators of mistreatment and abuse within the industry. The fans of the idols or groups and fans of other groups will often hate on idols for minor reasons, which tends to lead to severe mental damage and illness. There are countless examples of this. From one young of IVE eating a strawberry with 2 hands and receiving hate for being a so-called pick-me, to Red Velvet's Yeri receiving hate for crying at a fellow idol Jonghyun's funeral. She was called an attention seeker. It honestly shocks me how they could possibly receive hate for this, because one young was just eating a strawberry and Yeri was at a funeral of an idol whom she was known to be like a sister to. Some other common hate received by idols include multiple dating rumors, which are often incredibly baseless and always proven false, being popular, they are usually called attention-seeking or stealing other members' limelight, such as Kang, Daniel, and Karina, among other possible reasons. The next issue I would like to discuss is a much darker problem in the industry, which touches on the topic of self-harm and the mental well-being of idols. In recent years, one prominent issue within the idol industry is that some idols have been shown to be in a declining mental state, and in the worst-case scenarios have attempted to put themselves to rest. Lead vocalist of the wildly popular older generation boy group called Kim Jong-hyun took his own life. There was a note that was made public a few days after his death, which read, "I am broken from the inside. The depression that gnawed at me slowly has finally engulfed me entirely." Jonghyun was a wildly loved idol for his warm and expressive yet charming performances. May he rest in peace. The idea that this has become so normalized to the point that just earlier this year, when popular K-pop artist Moonbin was announced to have passed away in his own home, it was instantly assumed to be self-inflicted by the public and news outlets alike. What fans and companies need to realize about the K-pop industry is that idols are people too. They aren't robots whose sole purpose in life is to entertain and be the most perfect beings alive. They are humans with private lives and emotions which should only matter to them. They shouldn't be forced into unrealistic beauty standards and into the lengthy and excruciating process of training. They should be free to act as they please, on and off the camera, regardless of how popular they are. The mistreatment of idols has become so normalized that it's gotten to the point where people expect scandals to happen regularly, and that idols and their groups will receive unnecessary hate daily. In order for the idol industry to change as a whole, the public will need to bring this issue up to large companies who lack the initiative and humanity to do so.